as you just make yourself comfortable now and begin to relax, you might notice the way your breath seems to come and go. A quiet tide that ebbs and flows without effort. Wherever you are, right here, right now. And just like your breath, there's a kind of gentle breeze that exists within the mind too, isn't there? It moves through, carrying whatever it finds, sometimes softly, sometimes swirling with leaves of thought. And as you attend to each breath, you might allow yourself to simply settle into this moment, feeling that sense of being both here and within, safe and undisturbed by anything beyond this space. It's a bit like watching clouds on a lazy afternoon sky, some heavy with meaning, some wispy, and yet none ever really touching you. And as you notice your attention gently following one of these clouds, you may find there's a certain fascination in how they move, how they drift, how even the densest of clouds is supported by the air all around. And for a time, you can let those clouds grow softer, their edges blurring, as if the wider sky is welcoming them to dissolve and expand. And the more you let your mind rest on this openness, the more you drift into a calm awareness, feeling the gentle pull of comfort that awaits inside this spacious blue sky. And in this limitless sky, each cloud of thought, especially those persistent ones, can seem compelling at first, almost urgent, like the mind's insistence that you look and look again. And yet sometimes, when you step back, the whole scene reveals a new story. And I once knew a gardener who was worried about weeds popping up in her garden. Each morning she searched for every little sprout until tending the garden became endless. One day, as she sat quietly, she noticed the bees and the breeze, and how even as the weeds appeared, the flowers flourished. It struck her that the garden's beauty was never about the absence of weeds, but about growth, sunlight, and the life that continued anyway. And it's interesting how something inside you can begin to realize that thoughts, like weeds and flowers, both belong and neither need constant attention. And sometimes, when the obsessive wanting to fix or control releases, the mind's landscape breathes. And isn't it curious how focusing harder on stopping a thought can send echoes that make it appear even more? Like noticing a sound in a quiet room, seeking silence, and in seeking the awareness of the sound only grows. And what if you were to let thoughts come and go, just like watching birds that visit a window ledge, knowing they will never live there, just pausing on their way somewhere else? There's such freedom in allowing space between thoughts, noticing the moments when nothing particular fills the mind, and how that nothingness feels softer, even satisfying. And you might discover, even now, that the mind can choose which clouds to follow and which to let pass. And sometimes the most peaceful state is not in struggling against the thought, but in leaning into the vast sky that holds them all. And you may begin to notice a gentle detachment, a sense that while any thought might land, it doesn't define the sky. And as you let your mind become curious about what lies between or beyond, or even beneath those patterns, you can find a natural wisdom emerging, an understanding that the same thinking that creates the weather can just as easily create stillness. And it's possible to grow comfortable with uncertainty, noticing how not every cloud needs naming, not every breeze explaining. And just as the sun behind the sky is constant, there's a part of you, a quiet awareness that remains unaffected, steady, always available, ready to return to. And with each breath, you may find yourself relaxing deeper, as if the clouds have thinned and the sky of your mind stretches effortlessly, calm and wide. And soon you'll begin to bring more of your attention back to the present moment, maybe sensing your toes, your hands, the air against your skin, the distant clouds becoming lighter, floating into the distance, as you begin to notice the colors, the sounds, and the gentle movements around you once again, feeling a return of clarity and energy, a fresh sense that just as the horizon always welcomes new weather, your mind is open to peaceful thoughts and a renewed presence in the here and now. And as the day unfolds, you may notice those old obsessive patterns grow less sticky and find yourself choosing what matters most to focus on more easily, more calmly. And each time your mind wants to revisit the same thought, a gentle awareness reminds you that you can let it drift by and return to what truly matters in the here and now. And if you found this session helpful, you might like to come back and revisit these moments whenever you wish. And until next time, goodbye and good mental health.